stuck in California until I reach 100,000 subscribers. And sorry for the delay. I was like finding a location where I can do it easily without much disturbance. So that took some time. But I see that there are like already 2 comments. So I guess you guys were waiting. So I much appreciate that. Anyways, if you are like just joining for today, if you stumble upon this video, my name is Anuj and I'm right now traveling to all the 50 states of the United States in order to spread the awareness on discrimination against high skilled workers based on their country of birth. And right now I am in my 37 states. I've been to all these like states so far spreading awareness, but then like there are a million people who are suffering because of this issue, and probably they are not even aware about this campaign because I only have like around 1600 subscribers so far. So if not many people know about this, then the effect would be very less, and I wish that more people know about that, so impact would be bigger, more people can join in different things, and we can reach organically to people like Americans who can vote as well. So that's why I am here, day 4. I'm not sure how long it's gonna take, but hopefully soon. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and tell others, right? Anyone who are suffering because of this, or anyone who wants to support fairness, they need to know this so they can subscribe and help to bring the change. Anyways, I'm talking about different things. While I'm here, I'm going live every day, and today I'm gonna talk about a few things, kind of main thing, but there are like few different things which are associated with this, right? That a lot of people talk online who are advocating to bring the fairness for the high skill immigration, right? And sometimes they make this comment that we need someone big, or we rely on certain big organization a lot, that why they are not doing anything. Sometimes someone will comment that, oh, we need to hire some lobbyists to do the job for us, right? And those are all, I'm not saying that those things are bad options, but what are the challenges associated with that? And sometimes we think that individually we cannot do much, right? So I'm going to talk about that. What are the advantages we have as a individually advocating, right? Not as a big group. So a lot of people also tell me that, Anuj, why don't you start an organization, right? Why don't you register a non-profit? By the way, all the 37 states I have traveled so far, I have traveled with my own money. So like sometimes, let's say that I meet someone and I tell about them about my campaign, and they will be like, hey Anuj, if you register a non-profit, then I'll donate some money. And I'm not sure how much money they are like planning to donate, like $1 million or so. If they're planning to donate like $100 or something, that doesn't make much difference regarding to tax. But I'm not sure. They might have like some fund they want to donate to non-profits. So, but what are the challenges with starting a non-profit? So, like whenever you want to register a non-profit or an organization, like big organization, some requirements are that you need to find board of directors, right? That the board of directors can control this organization. It cannot be one person's decision, right? That so first, if you want to start an organization, you need to find a board of directors, and then you need to set some bylaws, and you need to say, talk about what is your vision, what is your mission. All these things needs to be defined, and then time to time that can be updated as well, but it's like a combined decision of like board of directors, right? It cannot be a one person's decision. So sometimes what happens is that you can start this organization, and then you work so hard, right, to find this. It's like a long 6-month process, kind of like it can take anywhere 6 months process. So you find board of directors, you register this, like you pay all the fees and all those kind of things. But then it puts like a lot of restriction on what you want to do. But also like after you spend a lot of time, they can kick you out as well, out of the like you cannot be like an executive director, right? So that puts you into like a lot of restriction, but also like while you are on H1B, some people will say that, hey Anuj, this non-profit or these things, someone like some kids from even India or like some other countries, they register, right? That's easy for them because they just registering for registering, right? No one is gonna go after these kids. As we are on visa, our rights are very limited, and whatever we do has to be, we need to follow by the books, right? That if we do something not by the books, and let's say that if the organization becomes big, someone can come after us easily. So that's one of the challenge, and that's why I haven't put much efforts into it. Anyways, let's talk about the book. The book is One Up on a Wall Street, which is an amazing book. I highly recommend it. Anyone who wants to invest, and it's just like some things I have found in that book, which applies into many different areas, right? And if you want to learn, I recommend the book. So this is not gonna be investment advice, or this is not going to be like immigration advice or anything at all. These are just some thoughts, and if you have some questions or comments, let me know. So one similar thing that in investment, people think that, okay, people on the Wall Street, only they can beat the market, right? Only they can win in the stock market. But this Peter Lynch, who has been a mutual fund manager for a long time, and some even would say, based on his records, that he is like one of the most not one of the most, the most successful mutual fund manager of all time. Now, when he retired, he wrote the book that, okay, you think that we have all the advantages, but these are our restriction, what we cannot do. And these are the advantages individual investor has, right? So some things like, let's say that certain things needs to be done in certain ways. So whenever you are like a mutual fund manager, if you want to invest in a popular company, right, like Apple, there wouldn't be much hesitations from their boss, right? Even mutual fund manager, they have people above that. So they have like a board of directors, or sometimes they have a manager. So sometimes, let's say that if you want to invest in a company like Apple, you go and tell them that, okay, I'm investing in Apple. All this mutual fund I'm managing, some of them I'm investing in the Apple. There will be like very less resistance or questions they're gonna ask. They're like gonna pat them on the back that, okay, great decision, you go invest in Apple. And then when if something happens, right, when they invest in this like popular companies, something bad happens in the stock market, or like, well, Apple doesn't perform well, then it's not the mutual fund managers, it's not on mutual fund manager, right? It's not that he made a wrong decision. It's just luck or something happened that the Apple didn't perform, right? But let's say that this mutual fund manager found a startup, or not a startup, but a company which is like not very popular yet, and he gave like a lot of example. One of the example he gives that, let's say that if you find a company, Dunkin' Donuts, in their early stage, right, that you go to Dunkin' Donuts, you see that the coffee is good, donuts are good, and people are liking it. People are like, you see the customers are there, right, respect. Now you see that company is public as well, but initial days, if you go and tell your superiors that I want to invest in Dunkin' Donuts, so they're gonna ask you a lot of questions. And then if by any chance, if that company doesn't perform well, then it's on the mutual fund manager, right, that they came up with this decision and then it didn't perform. So it's not the Dunkin' Donuts fault, it's the stupid decision by this mutual fund manager. But he says that as an individual investor, we have this advantage that every day we are going to eat, we are going for shopping, we are doing all these different things, and whenever you see that there is something is new and a lot of people are liking it, and then you can see that if that company is already public or is it going public soon, Then you find out that he teaches you to run the financial statement. You see that you compare that 3-4 quarter statement, that how is their financial looking, are their profit increasing quarter by quarter. All this financial you check, and you see that okay, they have plans of expansion. So if they are doing good here, they might be keep doing good at other location. So they talk about that the finding this company at the early stage is much important. If you want to, like he uses the word like 10 baggers, right? That stock multiplies 10 times. So if you want to have more 10 baggers, then it's important to invest in this company early on. The early you invest, the more return you're gonna get. And he talks about that as an individual investor, we have much more room to fail, right? And in stocks, they say that, let's say you invest in 4 companies like this, $1,000 in each. 3 companies goes to zero, right? 1,000 went to zero, 1,000 went to zero, 1,000 went to zero. But 4th company we were right, and that become 10 bagger. Then that $1,000 becomes $10,000. So we have room to fail, but we don't need to be like 100% right all the time. As long as you are like 51% right in the stock market, you are still making money, right? So he talks about that these are the restriction associated as a mutual fund manager, that we have to go through a lot of different things if they need to invest in the company early on, before that company is like well established and stable. Now the same thing happens while we are running an organization versus we are doing advocating individually, right? So let's talk about our particular case, that or in general, right, that anytime there is an advocacy, the straightforward way and the most popular way to advocate is that you either reach out to your senators and congressmen and call them, or go them to the go them and meet them in person, right? That's the most popular way as an organization. If you are running, they will suggest that okay, you keep doing that, right? So they will hire volunteers, and then they ask that you do this thing, right? If they want to be creative, if they have that better way, there is a better way to do things, then if this is a new way, no one has ever done it, then they need to convince the board of the directors that should we try this. And if they don't agree that this doesn't work, that cannot be done. Or let's say that if someone doesn't like it, most people like it, so you get to do it, but still this person will be rooting against you. So this is like, they need to, as a big organization, they are like very restricted on what things they can do. There are advantages as well as a big organization, but these are some restrictions, that there is like their ability to make decision can be slowed down, right? That if they want to, let's say that if as an organization they want to go 30 days live straight like I'm doing, right, then each day what they're going to talk about, that needs to be reviewed, right? And sometimes it can be good as well that the organization doesn't make mistake, but more often than not it will be restrictive, that okay, we need to come up with what we're going to talk about each day, that needs to be passed, who is gonna be the spokesperson for this. And those are the kind of things, right, that they are very restrictive. As individually, when we are advocating, we don't have this restriction. As for me, if you see that I decided to travel to all the 50 states to spread the awareness, because it was my own decision, I was able to easily do it, right? And it wasn't easy, like personally I had to think about it a lot as well, but it's like, if you are like think about as an organization convincing someone that okay, from one member from our organization is gonna travel to all the 50 states, and we need to support them, right? Good luck convincing all the board of the directors that. But as think about as yourself that right now as an individual advocating, you don't have that restriction as well, right? That this is something I'm doing. You can also take on some challenges, right? This is I talked about in one of the videos I made as well. That let's say that if you are an artist, if you are like a really good singer, and if you love composing music, you can create a parody song, because right now the parody songs, if they are funny, they get popular or viral very quickly, and that way we can reach more people, right? So that's just one example. Let's say that if you make a goal that I'm gonna protest in all the counties of my state, right? That you can do that as well, right? If you decide that, okay, there are like 7 congressmen and women in my state, I'm gonna meet them all, and I'm just gonna keep pursuing them to co-sponsor a bill or bring a bill, then you can do that, right? So that's your own decision. So you don't have this restriction. You don't need to convince anyone. So that's one of the advantages of being like an individual advocates, that we don't have this restriction. Another disadvantage of big organization, so far what I have seen, is that people rely too much on big organization, right? And what happens is that you join some organization, and then you maybe donate some money, and then you are not doing anything, and you are like relying that, okay, because I'm supporting this organization, they will fight for us and they will bring the change, right? Now that's great as long as they do that, but many times they become inactive. So what happens is that sometimes the organization looks big, that it has 100,000 member, but only probably on the top 10 are kind of active, and if they become inactive for any reason, then you are starting from you are like starting again, right? Or someone needs to start again. So that I have seen a lot, that there are some big organizations, they get big, but then they become inactive, right? So rather than, if we have a momentum of our own, let's say that maybe like 50,000 people are doing something on their own, which kind of like doesn't require much time, but then they are like very well educated on the issue, they have good arguments. So even let's say that if I become inactive, then we are like not relying on one person or one organization, right? There are like 50,000 people already working that towards this issue. So that is the advantage of like not doing it with big organization, or not relying too much on big organization. They are great in some ways, that if the organization, big organization, reaches out to member of the Congress, it has like sometimes big impact, and those kind of things are there. So I am like not saying that you shouldn't support a big organization or things like that, but those are some limitations as well. Now talk about like lobbyists, right? Sometimes people say that we need to hire lobbyists, and I'm not sure how to like coordinate that or how to hire it, right? It's like some big organization wants to do that, that's good, but the lobbyist is limitations with that lobbyists are hired people most of the time, right? That I think that's what it means, that their job, they get paid to do that job, and that's their full-time job. But now they are working for money, so they won't be as passionate as us, right? Someone who are like, who've been through this issue and they really want to change it. The other person would be like lobbyist, would be working for the money. They might want to bring the change, but sometimes when they bring the change, that means that the money they are earning is going to stop, right? Like that kind of a challenge. So they won't be as passionate, right? They might have like education on how to do certain things more than us. But I like that quote from One of my favorite superhero movie, Batman Begins, if you have seen it, it says that your training is nothing, your will is everything, right? So it's about our will more than the training, that if we really want to do it, like we can get it done, because it's an issue which we've been through, we care about, and your greatest strength comes from your greatest pain, right? So that's the advantage we have. So if someone wants to hire a lobbyist, that's great. But that's the I just wanted to say that these are the challenges with that. Anyways, let me check if I have missed anything. Anyways, any questions? I see that some people are already watching this live, so I appreciate that. If you have any comments, question, let it know in the comments. And if you have something which I should address in the future video, you can leave it in this comment. But I'm not sure this comment stays there forever. So once the video after each live is done, that video stays there forever. And if you comment something there as well, I'll make sure that I cover those points. Let me see if I missed anything, right? Okay, so one of the quote I wanted to share from the book, One Upon Wall Street, what he said and how it applies, right? So sometimes, let's say that you pick on this, you found this good company to invest in, but it will take some time for them to become popular, right? And once they become popular, their stocks are gonna rise. But the key part is the quote he says, Mohit, thanks, we are with you. Okay, Mohit, this quote is very important. Listen. The trick is not to learn to trust your gut feelings, but rather to discipline yourself to ignore them. Stand by your stocks as long as the fundamental story of the company hasn't changed. So what he's saying, that as long as you keep checking these fundamental statements every quarter, and as long as the fundamental stocks, no, as long as the fundamentals are doing great, right, on the financial statements, if the company is doing great, then stand by that rather than the actual price of the stock, right? So that we need to apply it here as well, that as long as we fundamentally believe that this is something inherently wrong and it needs to be changed, then we need to stand and support this issue rather than focusing, okay, that this Congress is not going to change it, or so and so is not going to change it, it's never going to happen. Rather than focusing on that, or our, like, that's like kind of our gut feeling, right, that okay, whatever is right now everyone is focused on, like a border issue or something, so our issue is not getting attention, so nothing is going to happen. Rather than focusing on that, we need to stay focused on saying that this is something wrong which needs to be changed, right? So yeah, I guess that's it for today. Any questions? Thanks for everyone who joined live, and please share it, right? If you haven't subscribe, and anyone you think would benefit from this change, let them know that this is the least they can do. They can subscribe and get familiar with the issue. So spread the message. I am in Walnut Creek, California, so I am already in the Bay Area, planning to probably do a protest on Saturday, and what's the name of the Palo Alto, right? So I'm doing protests there, and some people said that they're gonna join. If anyone else wants to join, if they are in the area, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow with something new. Thanks for joining, and take care.